So for real. But welcome everyone. Happy New Year. I love July 1st. Am I kind of weirdo for liking July 1st? I don't know. If every single year, it's so funny because I was going back through my Facebook memories and every single like July 1st, even before I kind of clicked in my mind that it was like a new year or new beginnings. So it's the second half of the year. I have all these I'm super excited about things. I've got all these projects going. And so I don't know if I'm just a weirdo like that, but it really is in a lot of ways, I think, a new beginning. We're halfway through 2019. We still have an entire half year to go and it's exciting. And so if you are not excited about July, I would encourage you to have a mind shift on that because it really is all about, we the first part of the year is done and anything can still happen. I mean, we have seen people knock out ridiculous things over the last 6 months of the year. And so whatever it is that wherever you are right now, I know some of you are just totally blowing up your business and you're thrilled with how things are growing and others are like, it's not exactly how I thought that it was going to start the year, right? And you're like, oh, maybe feeling a little down about that. I would really encourage you to let that go and just focus on what you have control over and focus on making the rest of the year great because we still have freaking 6 months, which is amazing. And there's so many cool things that are popping. I cannot wait for national training for some of the new stuff to officially roll out. But there's some really cool technology stuff that Pure Romance is testing. And I just think there's just a lot of really great opportunities. So I'm excited and I hope you're excited too. The way that tonight is going to go is we're going to share a consultant story. I'm really excited to hear from Amanda Walsh, who's one of our newer team members. She just started actually at the beginning of the year during the Founders Day sale, and she's been rocking it. But the road hasn't always been easy, and I think it's important to know, that we all have barriers in this business. And so she's graciously agreed to let me interview her a little bit about her Pure Romance experience to date. Has been in for 6 months basically, and she is a senior consultant. And she's already rocked out, a couple of promotions, including one that senior consultant level is when you start qualifying for lifestyle bonuses. She's done just a great job. So we're going to talk to Amanda, and then I'm going to share 5 tips for you to completely slay 2019, even if the first of the year didn't start out that great for you. So we're going to talk about those, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. And so if you have questions about anything in the business, and nothing is off limits, so there's no stupid question. This is your chance to just go ahead and ask away, and I can answer it. We have some amazing veteran consultants that are on as well that I'm sure would be able to pop on and answer any questions that you have. But I would love to hear, let's go ahead and start off with Amanda Walsh, who's a newlywed. Yay. Congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you.
So exciting. And so Amanda started during the Founders Day sale. She's in Pennsylvania, right? And your sponsor is Jamie Hoisington out in California.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? Yeah.
We are both part of a homeschool entrepreneurial group, and she posted about doing Pure Romance, and I was always been interested about what the company actually was.
Yeah.
And so we started talking, and she sent me some samples, and I'm like, okay, my turn.
And that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh my gosh. So don't discount those. That's a really great tip. Okay. So as we're going through this, be thinking of what your little golden nugget takeaways are, ladies, because that's a big one. Sometimes we think about the traditional way that we meet potential consultants, which usually through parties or people that we've known in person, but online groups are pretty freaking powerful, not to just go on and spam people, but when you form genuine connections, I mean, that's pretty amazing. And so the rest is history.
Yeah, I've never been to a party before that. I've never tried a product before that. She sent me, and I think she sent me an O and an AMP or something like that. And I was like, okay, I like this.
Oh my gosh. And so when you started never having, and I'd never been to a party before either. So I'm with you on that. Did you have any reservations about getting started? Did you have anything that you were nervous about, or you're just like, I'm in?
Okay. So this is not my first dive into direct sales. I've done 2 other companies plus another side business that completely crashed underneath me. Plus the types of products we sell was a little bit of a reservation because I do have some very conservative religious family members who they are my main support group. So I was extremely concerned about the criticism from them and what was going to come from all of that. But I was just open and honest and told them, I was like, look, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. And turns out I have some family members who are some of my top customers.
Isn't that funny? It's funny how that works, right? Oh my gosh. So when you started, how did you initially get the ball rolling? You'd never been to a party before. You had a very conservative background and were like, I don't know how I'm going to navigate through this. What was your method of actually getting the ball rolling?
Well, because I got in during the Founders Day sale, we had a gap of time between when we actually got all of our stuff on the COO to the time our kit came in. So instead of going and just diving into my kit and being super excited, I went and did party school like a mad woman. And I think I finished the whole first section that they let you do on party school within 24 hours of having access to it. I was like, okay, we just bought a house in October, so now I have space to do this. So I tried to get all my girlfriends over. I had my launch party, my encore party, and my bestie party booked within 48 hours. And I just was like, I was so determined to prove that I wasn't going to fail again that I did everything I possibly could in like the first couple of days before my kid even got here.
You know, it can be a really powerful motivator to prove them wrong, right? Like,
yes.
My
husband was extremely skeptical. He's like, yeah, okay, sure. We'll do this again. Sure.
Yeah. What does he say now?
He likes the business. There's little things that I do for myself that I've always felt guilty taking out of our bank account that we use for the family, that I'm able to do for myself now. Like, I'm an iced coffee addict, and I don't have to worry, like, oh, do I need to check our account real quick? I can just go do it. And he's seen that it's really boosted my confidence, being able to have that actual recognition from an amazing team like the All-Stars. And this is something I'm actually truly passionate about. I'm not just out there trying to sell something. I want women to learn from what I'm talking to them about. And he's seen a very positive change in both our financial aspect and in me personally.
Yeah. And I love that. I think, sometimes, well, actually I hear this a lot from consultants. They're like, I've got a significant other who's not very supportive. What do I do? And prove them wrong. I mean, that is really it. You go out there and you do the work. I think sometimes where there's a disconnect is if you're not out there doing the work and they just see that, you're paying out and you're attending all these things and they're not seeing the result. Of course, they're not going to be thrilled about it, but you go out there, you do the work, you put some money in the bank account and they get on board pretty quickly. Yeah, that's great. So you've been able to do some little extras for yourself as a result of the business, and you promoted very quickly. So you actually promoted to senior consultant. When was it? Was it in May or in?
I think it was May. Was it May? Maybe in April. I think it was right after my wedding. So,
yeah. So one of the things that I've been super impressed with Amanda about is that she plays hard. So you see every time we have a team challenge, like she is out there, she is doing it. She's doing the activities. She was the most consistent. Actually, there were two of you guys were most consistent, but she was one of the most consistent of the badges challenges that we were doing. And we put those on hold for a minute. We might be bringing them back. The whole purpose of that was just to get consultants used to taking the activities that are going to build their business. And can you share a little bit about your experience with doing the badges? Was that helpful for you in getting into those taking action?
Absolutely. I thrive on recognition. I didn't know that about myself until I started with Pure Romance, but I thrive on recognition. So getting my name put up in our team group on these badges every week was just like, yes. And so it pushed me to keep going and keep doing those activities. And it really helped. I was booking parties, I was making sales, I was finding leads. And it was a tangible goal that I didn't have to come up with myself, because I get stuck in my own little space and I, start doubting myself, like, well, maybe this goal isn't tangible or maybe I can't really actually do it. So having that little goal right there in front of me that someone else made was like a bullseye for me to hit, and I really appreciated it.
Good. Well, you did an amazing job. And I mean, your business you've done so well in the short time that you've been in business. And it's great to know that, you had some reservations. You were concerned. You didn't necessarily have people fully on board with you when you were getting started, and you pushed through that anyway, and made it happen. Do you have any advice for someone who just is getting started in the business of what some of the most important things that they can do to hit their goals?
The most important things to do, I found, were to follow the new consultant checklist that All Stars provides, because that was one of the most well thought out ones I've seen. You're going to want to follow that checklist. You're going to want to start your VIP group almost immediately, because that's going to be your main source of contact. Your friends are going to invite their friends, and it's just going to snowball from there. Also, I really found it helpful to watch the trainings, go back through on YouTube and watch the live parties, especially if you've never been to one. And they have so many great resources on the COO. And you got to dig a little bit, but they're there, and just dive in head first. I mean, if you have reservations about it, you're going to get in your own head and you're going to get your own way. So just go at it full force and it comes to you.
I'm curious. I have one more. I'm just full of questions. I got another question, actually. So what percentage of your business is in-person parties, and what percentage is online?
Okay, I have had three in-person parties if you count my launch party.
Wow.
The rest of it has been completely online.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. And is this your display, like behind you? This looks so good.
Yes, this is what I keep on my desk at all times. So when I'm talking to a hostess or I'm talking to a lead, they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And
do you do like Zooms, or do you do like Facebook Lives, or when you're connecting with your hostesses and how do you?
I do.
About that.
If I can catch her to do like a Facebook call, I'll do a video call real quick, and this is in my background. And
what is that? Is it like a little
Okay, so Payless is going out of business. So this is just one of their displays I got for $1. It's like a little 2-tiered plastic shelf. I actually got it for a vendor event because my table looked too flat and Payless was right behind me. So I ran into the store and bought 2 of them real quick. And it just gave my table some variation. And I'm like, well, I'm going to keep this up at all times.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. You just gave me a great golden nugget. I need to start like doing that with my online people more often when I'm doing hostess coaching. That's such a great idea. And so what's next for you?
I have 2 women that I'm working with to have parties this month to earn their kit. So I'm hoping to get 2 new activations this month. And I took June off because we had a family tragedy. So I kind of took the month off. So I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things. So I'm looking, and I want to get over 5,000 in personal retail by the end of July.
5,000 in July, and that'll be your best month ever, right?
That'll be my best. That'll be my year to date, but still be my best month.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So good. Well, I'm super excited for you. It's been so fun to watch you as you just have grown and blossomed in your business, and you keep proving them wrong, girl. I love that. That's a big motivator for me too. So.
I didn't realize it was, but apparently it is. So we're just going to run with it.
Well, great job. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be hearing more from Amanda. I'm sure I'm going to be wrangling around all kinds of stuff now that I know she has so much of her business through social media. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's see here. Go ahead all right. So I'm going to go ahead and get into a few tips for you. All right. So 5 tips. If you are finding that you are in a position that your business is not exactly where you thought that it would be, or maybe it is, and you still just want to bang out the rest of the year super, super strong, here are just five quickie things. It's going to be quick and dirty, all right? I don't have a presentation or anything for you. But the first one is if you are not where you thought you would be, all right, and so far this year, if you've had a rough go of it so far, number 1 tip is to stop beating yourself up about it. All right. This is one of those things my business coach, Ray Higdon, hits on this super hard all the time. And he actually goes as far as to say that if you are beating yourself up, it is selfish because it is not providing a service to you or anyone else. Every minute that you spend looking backwards and, being, oh my gosh, I should have done this, or I could have done this better, or I didn't do this and I should have. Every moment that you're doing that, you're not building your business. You're not serving, people. and you actually are being detrimental to yourself by doing that. And so knock it off with the beating up. We are going to go ahead. The past is in the past. What matters is right in front of you right now. So knock it off. A little side note on that. Hi. Hi, is Abigail? A little side note on that too is be careful about resting on your laurels as well. There's a flip side to that. So if you've had an amazing run, be careful about putting too much stock in that, because that also is in the past. It doesn't matter, if you had an amazing year in 2018. What matters is what you're doing right now. And I'm kind of an extremist on this. I would not recommend this. I really believe in manifestation and all that kind of woo-woo stuff. And so I go as far as when I was doing the Pure Success, and Greg was out filming, he's like, where are all of your big giant checks? Because they were nowhere to be seen in my house. And I'm like, actually, they're in the closet. And he's like, why are they in the closet? I'm like, well, it's because that's not what I'm working on right now. The big checks that have, team sales of 2.7 million and 3.2 million, whatever, that's amazing that we did that. I'm super proud of it, but that's not, we're going to be 20 million, right? And so I don't want to have that staring me in the face every day, because that's not where we're going. And so stop beating yourself up about stuff. It is selfish. That is detrimental to you. It doesn't serve anyone. And also be careful about resting on your laurels too much. If you've done great stuff in the past, what matters is what you're doing right now. Second tip is to take full responsibility for what your situation that you're in right now with your business. All right. And so that doesn't mean go and beat yourself up about it. But if you are not currently getting the results that you want in your business, it's really one of two things. It's either number one, that you have a lack of knowledge about what you need to do next. And that is totally something you can remedy very quickly. Or secondly, you're not taking the actions that you need to be where you want to be. It's those two things. It's either one or the other, or it's a combination of the two. And you have full control over both of those things. And I know some people might say, well, all these circumstances have happened that are out of my control. And absolutely, I know that happens. Like, I think about Snowmageddon here in the Twin Cities for the first part of the year. That was not how I was intending to start the year. I wasn't intending to, be snowed in and have a ton of parties cancel. In retrospect, what a learning opportunity, because I should have had a better backup plan, right? I was able to knock out a few things online, but I really should have had a much better backup plan for, when parties just cancel. It shouldn't have derailed me as much as it did. And so take full responsibility for where you are. Don't blame, it's not your sponsor's fault. All the knowledge is out there. There are so many more resources than when I started. Oh my gosh, if anything, there's like too much and it can be overwhelming. In which case, go back to the all-star checklist, because that will just help you walk through what is most important to do right now. It's not your sponsor's fault. It is not, the economy's fault. It is not that no one wants to have parties, because they do. If there are people that are doing things in this business that you would like to do, then it's possible and you can do it too, right? We just got to take responsibility for where we are. And that doesn't mean beat yourself up, but that means, okay, this is where I am. This is what I have control over, and let's go and run with it. The third tip is to set goals. We're really big on goal setting. And, you're going to set your own goals for what's important to you. There's a few different types of goals that you want to think about setting. The first one is a BHAG. And if you're brand new in the business, don't get too caught up in this one. I know that sometimes when we talk about a BHAG, which stands for big, hairy, audacious goal, that can seem a little bit overwhelming if you just started and you're not sure, like, what the heck is a B? I don't even know what I want to get out of this business. I just thought I would dip my toe in the water. So don't worry too much about your BHAG. If you've been in for a little while, you want to be thinking about your BHAG. And your BHAG is a goal that what would you like to accomplish? And if you did it, it would blow your mind, and it actually scares you to think about, because it's so big. All right. It actually evokes a physical response to think about, because it's so freaking big. And so think about having a BHAG goal. And then also you want to have your numbers goals. And so what is your goal, for the month in terms of parties that you want to have, in terms of retail sales that you would like to achieve, in terms of people that you would like to share the opportunity with. And so having that out there is important too. But more important than that, or equally as important as that, is breaking it down much more small. So I think sometimes we set these really big goals, or goals that even aren't that big, and then we never really back into it and take the action steps that are going to get us there. And so you've got your BHAG, you've got your kind of monthly things broken down, but then you need to actually go back even further and break it down weekly. And so if you're looking at 2019, you're like, okay, my goal was to hit President's Club, and I am nowhere near hitting President's Club, but I'm going to make it happen this year. You're going to take a look at what you need, towards the end of the year. You're going to break it down, kind of roughly what you're going to do by month. And then you're going to break that down and what can I do right now this week that's going to get me closer to that goal? And it is activity. All right. It is activity, 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 which is why we're doing the badges. It's all about, and why we were doing the ask challenge at the end of the month. It is all about increasing your network, asking people, asking them to take a look at the business, asking them to take a look at having a party, asking them to join your VIP group. Set activity goals for yourself every single week, and you pick your pace. And so I really love the bullseye. We talk about this a lot, but it's going to look like a nipple. I don't know how to not make this look like a nipple. How do you not make this look like a, I don't know, bullseye concept, right? But the whole concept of a bullseye goal, you can do this with any goal, is you're going to have your bullseye goal. You set whatever that is in the middle, and that is what you really, 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 really want. Like that's kind of, I really, really, really love to do this. But I'm not going to settle for anything less than this. And so you have a number in the middle and you have a number on the outside. So this is what you really, really, really want. And this is what you're not going to set anything for anything less for. So you can do this with anything really. Maybe it's that, I really, 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 really want to go for President's Club this year, or board of directors this year, but I'm not going to settle for anything less than President's Club. That could be one, right? Or it could be that if you're talking about activity goals, I want you to set activity goals weekly that are going to be achievable, that you'll actually do. But shoot high. So I really, 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 really want to reach out to 100 people, but I'm not going to accept any less than 30 this week, right? And so then as long as you fall somewhere in the middle, you're not going to get in that position where, again, you're beating yourself up because you fell short of your goal again. As long as you are hitting somewhere in the bullseye, then, we're celebrating. It's amazing. And if you hit the target, that's freaking awesome. And if you hit anywhere in there, that still is freaking awesome. And so it just gives you a little bit more wiggle room to celebrate, because I know that a lot of people are scared to even put goals out there that scare them a little bit because they're afraid of not hitting them, right? And so I would encourage you not to be afraid of that. Worst thing that happens is you're closer than you thought that you would be in the first place. But that bullseye is just a super cool tool. And if you're a leader, this is something I use with my team members all the time when we're goal setting with them, just to help them get past that fear of failure. So setting goals, super important. Do your BHAG. If you're brand new in the business, your goals you might not have the BHAG yet, but it could be things like getting your free party set up. Putting 50 people on your who do you know list. It could be all of those other little things. And then set your activity goal every single week of how many people you're going to ask on different things that you're working on. Ask, and do it every week. You pick your pace. For someone that wants to sell $100,000 in a year, their activity rate is going to be higher than someone whose goal is $10,000 in a year, right? And that's okay. It's totally okay. There's no judgment. This is your business. But it's okay to have a lower production, just not a no production week. All right. So 3 is set goals. All right, number 4 is the most important part, and that is just taking the action. That's taking the action, and that is where a lot of times we fall short. Often it is, people feel like they need to know more before they can jump in, or they spend too much time studying up in the library and they don't just actually get into action and do those things that are going to make them money. This business is super simple. There's so many different ways that you can do it, and I think it's easy to get distracted by all of the cool different techniques and the minutia, right? The minutia of these cool techniques and these different strategies and cool hostess packets and all kinds of stuff. But the nuts and bolts of the business are really the same. It is connecting with people. It's finding new people to put in your funnel. It's following up with your existing clients to make sure they're happy. And third, it is also servicing your people. So I did that a little bit wrong. It's finding new people to talk to and talking to them. Following up with those people who've expressed interest, but they have not taken the leap yet. And then the third one is servicing existing clients. And that's really it. And so take action, set those activity goals, do it consistently. It's what most people don't do, honestly. And that's, I think, why a lot of times, people are not having the success they want to have in this business because they're not consistently taking the action. Track it if you need to. I'm a huge proponent of tracking. I don't do it all the time. I have my weekly sleigh that I've showed you guys that I actually do all the time in terms of just tallying up how many people I've talked to, but I don't do super elaborate tracking every single week. But if I need to hit a goal, I do. So taking lots of action is super important. And if you're not sure where to start, because again, maybe you're new and maybe it is that education gap, because again, if you're not where you want to be, it's typically a lack of knowledge or lack of action, or a combination of both those two. If you're newer in the business, it probably is education, and that's okay, because we have so many amazing resources at your disposal. If you just need some new creativity, I'm going to see if I can screen share quick. Pure Romance has been doing these really cool microsites monthly that have just a ton of additional resources. So whether if you're brand new, go to the checklist and go through those motions, because that's going to be the most important for you. But if you have been around for a little while, or you want to kind of take it to the next level and want some more creative ideas, about booking strategies, or about hostess coaching, or about theme parties, or any of that kind of stuff, check out what corporate has, because it's pretty cool. Why is it not showing up? Just a second. I lost it. Here we go. Is it going to show up now? Maybe it won't let me screen share. I don't know. Just kidding. Wonder. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just see if it does that. Okay, can you see that? Summer of Funds. Yeah. All right. So this is really cool. This is just if you go to your consultant online office and go to the training tab, then you can access that. It's like under training, summer funds right down there. But look at this. There's so many cool things on here. So there's lots of different things on social media. There are ideas for booking parties. There are all kinds of social media assets that you can use. There's different podcasts. And so again, it should never be that, oh my gosh, it's not a lack of resources. I think if anything, we have more than we can digest, because it can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming. But there's so many different things out there if you're not sure where to start. Stay a student. Did I say that was number 5, continue learning? Number 5 is stay a student, continue learning. That was my 5th tip. And this is a really great resource for you if you haven't checked that out yet. So those are my 5 tips for getting yourself into an amazing action for the end of 2019. I hope that's helpful. And I'll recap them really quickly. So number 1, stop beating yourself up. On the flip side of that, don't rest on your laurels. Number 2 is take full responsibility for where you are. It's either a lack of knowledge or lack of action, and you have control over both of those things. Number 3 is set goals and break them down into weekly activity goals. Take a big one and keep breaking it down until you got it down to the week. Number 4 is take action. And so actually doing those activities that are going to move your business forward. And then number 5 is to continue learning. So I hope that's helpful. But I know we're going to have an amazing end of the year. I'm so excited. Again, I love July 1st. It's just the best day. But looking back on previous years, it's so funny because a lot of times people are like, oh, July, whatever. July has been banging from our team from the very beginning. And I fully expect just looking at what your goals are for this month, I'm really excited about what we're going to do for the rest of the month. And so, so if you haven't yet, in our Facebook group, I've got a 24-hour challenge, and your challenge is to what is our challenge? Your challenge is to let us know how it's going to be the best July ever, best month ever for you. What are you doing to make it the best month ever? What is your goal to make this the best month ever? Is it getting the most no's? Is it the most outside orders? Is it adding more people to your VIP group? Is it the most parties you've ever done? Is it the most sponsoring conversations that you've ever had? What are you going to do to make this the best July ever? What's your goal? And then what are you doing this week? Because again, we break it down weekly. What are you doing this week to move you forward to that? And so comment on that video and you'll be entered into a drawing. We'll do prizes tomorrow. It's a 24-hour challenge. But I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. And so any questions that you have, if there's something that you are stuck on, that you would like some insight on, or yeah, just want to know about. And I'm going to go ahead and try to pull up the Facebook feed too, because I have a feeling we probably have people on there as well. Let us know what we can help you with. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this was helpful. And by the way, if this was helpful, here is my challenge. I'm full of challenges. I got another challenge for you. Pay it forward. If you would share a takeaway from this evening, from what we heard from Amanda, from the 5 tips. If you can share that either in our group or share it with your team, or share it with your clients, or share it on your Facebook feed. I don't care, but just share it, pay it forward. I really am a huge believer in that. Invest, learn, teach. Invest your time in learning something new and then teach it to other people. So what questions do we have? Let's see here.
Jana, this isn't a question, but this is just a tip again about like what you're saying, like tracking stuff. So I also do Jana's weekly slay, And you guys, it is seriously incredible. I thought I was reaching out to people, but then you get stuck in like the rabbit hole of Facebook and things like that. So if you don't have like something similar to like the weekly slate where you're like, you are actually having these trackable things, do it. If you need advice of like how, like what one can look like, I mean, Jana can share this with you. I can share with you. I can share my previous one, but it's amazing because I can knock this out in like an hour, like the whole entire day. I can knock it out in an hour and then I'm like, okay, that was the most important business activities that I needed to do today. And now I can do whatever else I want. Like, it's so amazing. And I'm just, yeah. So just do it and have some sort of system, and use other people's systems too. Cause like I said, like I did not create that. I used Jana's. So
well, yeah, but I used someone else. I mean, I used a gal in my networking group, and I just tweaked it for the activities that I want to do. So I'm sure yours looks different than mine does, a little bit, but yeah, I love it. I'm a huge, and I love it too, because like you said, it's like, it's not like you have your stuff hanging over you all day. It's like you knock it out, and then it's like, okay, if I get nothing else done today, if I decide to go play with Jack, for the rest of the day, it's fine. It's fine. No big deal. Thank you for sharing that. Sam would like us to talk about how to grow your network outside of your friends and family and outside of the people who you meet at parties. And so I'll throw out some ideas on that. And then I would love to hear from any of our gals that are on. I mean, we've got lots of gals on here that have done a really good job of growing their network. But when I first started, so I did not have a big social network at all. And I was actually afraid to ask my friends and family. So I did not, I didn't even go there because I had such a conservative upbringing that I just wasn't sure how they would react to it. And then I was not able to be public in my job, which is where I spent all my time. So I really didn't have friends. So when I first started, I was really big on joining networking groups. And you can still do this. I mean, it's actually easier, I think, to do this now. I went to meetup.com and I joined a couple of networking groups. There was one in particular. It was a women in direct sales group that met up for beer once a month. And so I would go and I would meet them up for beer. I remember the very first one I came to, I had my business cards. They used to send you blank ones in your kit, and I had literally handwritten my stuff on that. Like, they looked so not professional. It really cracks me up now that I did that, and I passed them out, but I made some good friends there, and we ended up booking parties. We ended up party swapping, and now 12 years later, I still do parties with some of the women from that group, and it certainly gets tweeted out into lots of other places. So that was a big one, and now it's even easier on Facebook, in addition to how, whether you do it online or in person. I mean, with Amanda and Jamie getting connected on social media that way, making a connection, and then having a relationship that way. That can certainly happen, but then also I would encourage you, if you're doing in person, to look at groups locally that you sincerely have an interest in. So for example, I'm part of a mom's group in the Twin Cities for moms specifically over the age of 35, and they meet up occasionally. And so, that's another great way that, you can exchange, you can business comes up. You don't go in there to scam people, but business comes up. Kids activities. So I booked a party at Jack's little kicker soccer event. And so there's so many different ways that you can meet people through like meetup groups and different activities that your kids are involved in. I did a lot of vendor events when I started. And I always say, if I were to start over in a brand new area where I didn't know anyone at all, I would be successful because I would go to a vendor event. And even if, it was only the vendors that showed up to it, I would work those vendors and it would be great. And so vendor events are how I started my business. My first one was very, very small. There were only 4 different vendors, or 4 or 5 different vendors. It was a St. Paul Saints Girls Night Out event. Everyone was drinking margaritas. It was great. I booked 3 parties, 2 held, and that is where a lot of our team has come from. That is where I got, indirectly, through many parties, where I got Jody, where I got Ange, where I got Erin Knutson, just to name a few. Yeah. So that was really effective. And then we've done bridal fairs too, as a team in the past. Those are a lot more expensive. And so you gotta, maybe split those with other people, but the smaller ones are always where I had the best success. I don't do them anymore, but, if I were to start over again, that's what I would do. First things first, fundraisers. The only actual cold outreach that I ever did where I reached out to people I didn't know at all, was reaching out to, sororities and asking them if they would want to do the easiest fundraiser ever, because they're always trying to raise money for stuff. And so I found out who the philanthropic person was, or what is the lead sorority person, not captain. I don't even, oh, I should know, but whatever their elected official is, I reached out to them and offered to do a fundraiser party. And of all the sororities that I reached out to, two ended up booking. And now many years later, that also is how I indirectly got Dana. That's how I got Missy. It just ends up turning out into all these different things. And so, so that's how I started. It was literally like cold calling, and cold calling, sending email, and I think I also sent them a letter. I hit them 3 different ways. But yeah, so those are a few ideas. Other ideas from our gals that are on with us of how you can expand your network if you don't know anyone. Fundraiser parties are basically where you just do a regular show, so don't overthink it. But the best way that I found to do it is when you have a hostess who wants to raise money for something. So don't just do a party and be like, oh, it's going to be a fundraiser, because a lot of people don't care, unfortunately, about that. But if you have a hostess who's trying to raise money, maybe she's participating in the Komen Race for the Cure or Relay for Life, or the sororities are always trying to raise funds for different causes. Then that's who you want to hit up and say, look, I'm going to do the easiest fundraiser ever. I will donate. You can donate as much as your profit as you want. Instead of doing the hostess credit, you could do 10% profit as cash towards the charity, their choice. Or you could donate more than that. I actually donated up to my full profit, because I knew that even if I didn't make any money that night, it cost me nothing but my time. And I was getting up in front of new people, and I was booking with people that were not fundraiser parties, which is what happened. And so it was worth it to me. It was basically, like doing a same concept as a kind of a vendor event, but it's not a vendor event. You're not paying for it, and you are doing good. I've been able to donate many thousands of dollars over the years. That again didn't cost me anything but my time, and the goodwill that generates is amazing. And so, so that's how you do a fundraiser. It's not any different than a traditional show, but if you have someone who is really hell bent on raising money for something, she will work the heck out of it for you.
Jana, I'm going to touch on another one that you didn't mention, but you have gained a lot of team members and things. Well, maybe not a lot of, but you were very active on your YouTube. And it's amazing if you go to Jana's YouTube channel, she just shares like common things that any business person, especially direct selling business person, could take advantage of, right? And like utilize her business tips. Megan Jost joined because finding her on YouTube. So there's so many different channels and resources that you can use. So don't just focus on, oh, I can only ask people and that's all I can do. Vendor events is another huge one for me as well. I think I booked only an online party 2 months ago, and I now have booked 3 or 4 parties from that online party. One was in home. I've had a new team member from that. Like, it's amazing what one simple party can do, but get creative. And so Jana's really good at, YouTube, but also like those fundraising parties and things like that too. So there's a lot of different avenues you can go.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I was really dumb, you guys. Like, I did the YouTube videos because Facebook Live was not a thing, and we didn't have a Facebook group either for our team back in the day, because Facebook groups weren't even really a thing. And so I was just recording videos because our team was growing, and I'm like, I just need a place to send them. So I was putting them on YouTube, and I was so dumb I wasn't realizing that people were like finding me. That's how Lissa Kaplan and I got connected too. And so in retrospect, I'm like, gosh, because then I stopped doing them, right? I stopped doing them because Facebook Live came along. I'm like, okay, we'll just do everything in the team group. And now I've started putting them back on YouTube again, because I'm like, wow. But yeah, that's and another example of marketing, it's passive, right? But like, if you're going to do stuff anyway, why not? And there's really 2 sides to this coin. There's marketing, and that is everything that you put out there. That was attraction marketing, actually. When you ask about what attraction marketing, that was an example of attraction marketing, and me being dumb and not realizing that it was attraction marketing. But, there's marketing and there's prospecting. That's kind of the 2 things that you do to grow your business. The marketing is everything that you put out on Facebook, or that you are, sending out via email, that you are doing, on YouTube. And the prospecting is you actually connecting with people and asking them. And so you want to do both, combination of both. It's the whole active passive, right? But thanks for sharing that one. All right. And then the other one too, I'm glad you mentioned the online parties, Dana, because, sometimes people get discouraged with online parties because they're like, gosh, they just are not returning the same investment as when I do in person. Well, duh, of course they can. I mean, I've had like online parties that have been, $1,500, so they can, but I've also had a number of online parties that have been like, less than $200. $60, $20, but it's never a waste of my time because my goal is always that I'm growing my network and I'm getting people that I'm able to then funnel into my VIP group who I will market to and who I will sell to, book, or recruit eventually. And so it's another way to grow your network as far as I'm concerned. And if you look at it like that, instead of just the dollar, the bottom line dollar, then you're not going to get discouraged as easily, I think, with it. What else did I want to touch on? Heather had a good question. I think we'll probably talk about that, Heather, on Wednesday when we get together next week. Are there any other ones on Facebook that people have? Lori says her highest party ever was a fundraiser, and the majority of her repeat customers are from that party 3 years ago. Yeah. So, I mean, again, sometimes, we get so focused on how can I make the most dollars right now when we gotta be focused on the long game, the long game, like what ultimately is this going to lead to? And unfortunately, a lot of people do really, they get kind of, I don't want to say greedy, but stingy with stuff sometimes. And I mean, there can be a big payoff if you work things right. All right. Anything else?
I've had, sorry, I'm driving in the rain. I promise I'm watching the road. I know. So I personally am a member of a mommy group called MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers. We meet on Thursday mornings during the school year. So I didn't really share a lot about my business, but we do have the opportunity to there. So obviously a lot of the moms who are there, because we're stay-at-home moms, they have some other side business to pay their bills. So we can choose to sponsor another mom during the year, so moms who can't pay for it can be a part of it. So I did do that last year, and then I had a chance to share about Pure Romance. So I've had quite a few moms. There's about 100 moms in my group, so I've had about 5 of them have a party with me. And now more and more of them are friends with me. We do play dates and things, so the more they get to know me. It is a church group, so that's here you go. It's a very, obviously, a lot of us are conservative and Christian and whatever. So I do yoga Monday nights, and I've had 2 people I've met at yoga class book parties with me. 3 others join my groups and things. So these are things that I'm already out doing.
Yes.
So if you just think about the stuff, leave your house, do something for yourself. So those are things that I wasn't doing before, but I know the importance of that because I have to care for myself besides my child and my business. And so those are kind of the things that I do. So I book parties from my son's swimming lessons. I book parties at my husband's softball games and hockey games, and the family readiness group at the Army unit. So it's just things that are already a part of your life. It's easy. The more you're kind of talking and the more you get to know people, it doesn't have to be right away. It can be something you're a part of. So I didn't share about my business till the very end of the year. So I knew these women for basically a whole entire school year, and a lot of them, unless they were friends with me on Facebook, didn't know what I do because I chose not to be in their face about it. And now a lot of them appreciated that and want to, know more and inquire more. So there's a good way to go about doing things that way as well.
I love it. Yeah. And that's such a good point that it doesn't have, I mean, certainly, you've got to set aside time to do outreach and grow your business, but why not take advantage of what you're already going to be plugging into anyway, for sure. So actually another fun challenge for those of you that might be new, or even those of you that aren't new and just need a challenge to get out of your comfort zone, which is me, because I am a total introvert. I'm not someone who goes out and just naturally likes to chat with everyone out and about, but I force myself to a lot because I just want to be open to casual conversations. All right. And being open to casual conversation doesn't mean that it's always going to lead into, have you heard of Pure Romance, or a big ask with them. But if you are just open and friendly with strangers as you are out and about doing your daily business, it comes up. It comes up. If you're at Target and you're scanning stuff and you're asking the cashier what she's up to this weekend, she's going to probably ask you what you're up to this weekend, right? And so I would, if you aren't sure of a goal to set for yourself, here's another one. Give yourself a goal to engage in 10 casual conversations in 1 week. just, and it can start with a compliment. Oh my gosh, a sincere compliment, never BS someone, but oh my gosh, I really love your classes, or what are you up to this weekend? Or, oh my gosh, it's how much longer do you have on your shift tonight? Has it been a long day for you? Just talk to people and be open to those. And it often can lead to something else. Wearing your name tag out and about is another little tip too, like using your PR gear, whether it's your name tag or something that has pure romance. Be ready for conversations when you do that, because it will come up. But that's another way, if you are someone who has a hard time approaching other people, they will ask you about it. And so, yeah. Anything else tonight? Good stuff. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on tonight and for sharing and asking questions. We'll have to think about if we want to do this again or how frequently we want to do this kind of stuff, because I had fun tonight. I learned some new things. I got to set up my display in my office now.
Anna, frequently.
Frequently? All right. I'm pro. We really want to get better at making sure that we're engaging everyone regardless of where they live. Our team is national. Actually, most of our team is not in the Twin Cities now. It's grown so much that most of us are not even here anymore locally. And so, it makes sense that we do more things where we have an opportunity to connect. If we can't do it in person, at least we can see each other's faces and talk.